It's so important to determine for yourself what's important to you. And when I say loving yourself, for me, it means you're saying yes to you. And yes, that means saying no to others. But listen, saying yes to the dream career is a really, really big yes. Look, it's going to be challenging. This is not an easy journey, because if it were easy, everyone would be waking up to a career they love. That you don't have to wait until retirement to do those things that you truly desire, right? Like, but I think it's really important to remind ourselves that our life is finite. Right? You don't have to do this alone. And when you ask for help, the ride is so much smoother.
Thank you for joining me in Season 2 of Hoda's Career Info, your career literacy program. I am Hoda, your host. I look forward to another season of career chats with inspirational guests and insightful feedback from you, the audience. Ready to meet this week's guest? As the dream career expert, Priscilla Jabouin's passion is to help creative women who feel unfulfilled and unhappy at work embrace who they are, get clarity on their dream career, and build the confidence to make it a reality. After her own career change in 2010, Priscilla completed her Master's of Arts in Counseling Psychology and embarked on her new path as a career development professional and counselor. In 2015, she developed the My Map to Happiness method, a 5-part self-discovery process by integrating her advanced degrees in psychology and education and an in-depth knowledge of yogic philosophy, which led to her creation of a holistic coaching program and workshop. This workshop helps her client get deep inner clarity to identify what their heart truly desires in their life and career, and the confidence to make it a reality. In addition to her private career counseling practice, Priscilla has offered workshops at yoga retreats, presented her work at Canada's National Career Development Conference, CanAccess, and has shared her expertise on a panel for McGill University's Power Skills Virtual Career Summit. Priscilla has also been featured as an expert on the Canadian national radio show, CBC Listen, and she's currently the president-elect for the Career Counselors chapter of the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association. In 2020, she was also selected as one of the mentors for Invest Ottawa's program, a starter company plus first cohort for biopic entrepreneurs. Priscilla's mission is to inspire as many people as possible to wake up to a life and career they love. You can listen to her less than ordinary career journey on various podcasts, including her own The Dream Career podcast, which we will be talking about today. Please don't hesitate to share what you enjoy the most about my chat with Priscilla. Welcome, Priscilla Jabouin, and thank you so much for joining me today in this episode of Hoda's Career Info. I'm very excited to have you join me in my push to have career literacy trend across social media.
Thank you for having me on the show, Hoda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Truly appreciate your time. And right away, I'm going to ask you to share, please, with your audience, your story or journey and the message you would like to be heard by being here on this show.
100%. So my journey started in career hell. So unfortunately, it's been a little bit over 10 years now. It was in 2008, 2009, around that time, I could say like I somewhat hit rock bottom in my career. I was a school teacher at the time, and I was just super aware of my unhappiness at work, and I was feeling really miserable. And one thing that really stood out for me is that my awareness of how the amount of stress I was experiencing at work has starting to affect my health as well as my mental health. And I really got to a point where I realized like I had a really important choice I had to make. I was in my late 20s at the time, and I realized like, okay, Priscilla, you have a choice. You can either stay in this career until retirement and accept that you're going to be miserable until that time, which is many years, or you can face your fears and pursue what your heart truly desires. And I realized in that moment, I believe I was even actually standing in front of a classroom at the time. I realized in that moment that it's like, I cannot push myself through this for an extra year. So I'm gonna dive. I'm gonna dive, and I won't know what's gonna happen. So I actually ended up in the middle of the school year going to see the principal and letting her know I'm resigning for next year. Like, I'm not coming back in the new year. And just to tell you how overwhelmed I was, I actually literally forgot to write my resignation letter. So they ended up writing me a letter saying, you're no longer working with us, right? And I was like, whatever, but this is really like the state of mind I was in. And I think that what's important here for me, and the message I really want to share with the public, is that it's so important to determine for yourself what's important to you. And I knew at that time that my health, my mental health, and my well-being was more important than a permanent position. And this is really like a huge part of the work that I do with my clients. Yeah.
Thanks, Priscilla, for sharing your journey and encouraging others to really reflect on where they're at. My next question is, of course, about having a career term defined, and you chose dream career. I am looking forward to hearing your definition and also how it relates to the services that you provide.
Mm-hmm. So for me, there's so I make the distinction between perfect career and dream career. So what I noticed at the beginning of my career in career development, and at the time I was working with students, is that, and I still notice this with adult clients, is that there's this ability to share this true desire when it comes to one's career. But then there's almost like an immediate stepping back and fear of like, okay, let's explore something that fits more into the status quo or what's expected as a career. So what I notice is like perfect career is what I define as like your status quo career, is that the career that's kind of expected, that people should pursue. It falls into, the status, the success, the salary, and that expectation that if I talk about this career, then, people are going to be like, oh yeah, cool, awesome. Or they're going to understand, or there's going to be some kind of positive feedback. Whereas when we talk about the dream career, often our dream career is something maybe that we even brought up at a younger age, that mostly what I'm hearing from clients is that an adult at some point in time said, no, that's not a choice. No, that can't be a career. No, you can't make money out of that. But it's like, so then it becomes a dream because it feels like it's unattainable. And when I talk about the dream career, it's that often the dream career is something that enlivens us. So it wakes us up, it gets us excited. We want to get out of bed in the morning. We want to get out of bed on Mondays. We're looking forward to our full week ahead. I think that it also, like, there's a nourishing part of it. There's an awakening of our soul. And for many of us, it's even connected to our soul's purpose. So the dream career is really more this inner experience of even giving back to the world or making a difference in the world, but it's really aligned with who we really are. And I feel like the dream career allows us to step into our authentic self, whereas the perfect career, often we unfortunately find ourselves with like a mask or a facade of how we believe we should be in the way we show up at work. And so how it's related to like the services I provide is I have a very holistic approach in my approach with clients. Like, I have a background both in psychology education, and I'm actually also an advanced yoga teacher. And I was at one point in my journey immersed in that community and learned a lot just in terms of the yogic philosophy. And so I bring all these pieces about life and how to live a fulfilling and meaningful life into the work that I do with my clients. And in looking at my journey, I identified these 5 steps that I felt really supported me in my process from getting to a place of kind of just, going through the motions of this is what I'm expected to do, like I work, etc. We often talk about, you go to university, you find a job, you get married, you have kids, you get the house, you get the car, and then you kind of just anticipate retirement. And I got to a point, even at the beginning of this career, of really having this huge question mark, like, is that all there is to life? Like, I just get up, go to work, press repeat, rewind, right? So when I work with my clients, it's really that self-discovery for them. And I walk them through these 5 steps that help them not only discover who they are, what they really want, and what they really want, I present as what your heart truly desires, but also like the clarity. So the clarity of what your heart truly desires, but also like the confidence to actually say, this is what my heart desires, and I'm going to go out there, I'm going to take action, and I'm going to make it become my reality. So step 1 is really that foundational piece of answering those sometimes overwhelming questions about like, who am I? What is it that I want? What's really important to me? Step 2 is all about the power of our thoughts. So how to cultivate positive thinking so we can believe that the dream can be a possibility, and we can believe that we can show up in our life in the way that we really want to show up, and that those things that we want to create are possible for us. Step 3 is really, I feel like the heart of this process, which is the art of self-care and decision-making. And the way I see self-care is like, it goes beyond, what media shows us about going to the spa or whatever. For me, it's really about, do you love yourself? And if you love yourself, how does that show up in your life? And when I say loving yourself, for me, it means you're saying yes to you. And yes, that means saying no to others, but getting to a space where you're comfortable. Because I always tell my clients, listen, saying yes to the dream career is a really, really big yes. So you need to be in a space where you're comfortable saying yes to those smaller things you want. Like we had this conversation before, saying yes to that ice cream you really want, right? Like if you're not able to say yes to the ice cream you really want, it's going to be super hard to say yes to something as big as the dream career. So then cultivating like that relationship to self and saying yes to self. And then even though usually by part 3, clients are able to share with me what their heart truly desires, I always say, yes, the first step is that awareness, but the next step is giving yourself permission to pursue that. And fears, concerns, considerations, obstacles will come up, right? It's like all of those beliefs around, am I really allowed to do this as a career? Am I actually going to get paid for this if I go all in? Does that position even exist out there? So then part 4 is turning fear into action. We want to actually look at, okay, well, what are those fears and how do we tackle them so they don't get in the way of you pursuing your dream? And then part 5, I feel, is like when you bring it all together, and I call it trust and surrender. And I really believe in the importance of listening to self and the small voice or intuition or our gut or our nudge, whatever you want to call it. And as well as I really believe in the power of the universe. So for me, it's not only trusting yourself, but also trusting that when you take that step forward, the universe is there to support you in making that dream or your soul's purpose a reality. So that's really like that whole holistic process that I help my clients navigate.
I like it. And I do like that you talk about that there's going to be doubt in there, that,
Yeah,
it's not that easy, not straightforward. Okay,
exactly.
this is what I want to be doing, and I get doing
Yeah.
it right away. There's doubts, but of course, there's failures that we need to
Mhm.
expect. And
Yeah, 100%. Well, I like to call it challenges. And, honestly, Hoda, if it was easy to wake up to a career we love, wouldn't everybody be waking up to a career they love? So I always tell my clients, look, it's going to be challenging. This is not an easy journey, because if it were easy, everyone would be waking up to a career they love.
absolutely, absolutely. I always like to highlight that there's work involved. It's not like it's going to happen. Yes.
Exactly.
And part of what you do to continue supporting your clients is you have created a LinkedIn group. I like the idea of LinkedIn groups because it opens up conversation among people with a common goal, the way I see it. So
Mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about your LinkedIn group? And I'm going to say the name of it, the Dream Career Support Group. Can anyone join it? And also a little bit, what is the purpose of it for you when you
Mhm.
thought about creating it?
Yeah, so I realized that I needed a space to really share my message where I didn't feel maybe like, I mean, I have my own fears that come up myself, but I wanted a safe space for myself and for my dreamers. So I call them dreamers. And I realized that when we're talking about the dream career, this is a vulnerable space for many people where it's like I'm about to share this deep desire, and this deep desire for many has often been criticized or shut down. So I wanted to create a space where people felt safe sharing and where they knew they would receive the support. So I created the Dream Career Support Group to give this platform for people, but also to create a community of like-minded people. So the dreamers would feel comfortable sharing if they choose to, because they know that everybody's in the space for the same reason. And that's because their desire is to wake up to a career that they genuinely love. So in this group, what I do, so I launched this group in September 2021. And every day I showed up offering tips to support dreamers in waking up to a career they love. And those were videos. So kind of like this, and I'm sharing. And those videos are still available, even if you weren't in the group at that time. And the idea really is to support and guide dreamers. So anybody who is in a space right now where they're like, you know what, I think I'm ready. You know, I've been working now for 15, 20 years, and I've done everything I was told to do, and I'm still unhappy at work, and I want something more. I want that fulfilling, meaningful career. I want to wake up happy going to work, and I want to make a difference. Like a lot of people, when it comes to the dream career, like they're so aware that they want to give back. So this is really a space for those people who have that dream and they need some tips to help them get the process going. Yeah.
You are
So,
obviously very passionate about the term dream career.
yes.
And I can see your passion as well when you're
Thank
talking
you.
about even the support group and your reasons for creating it. But you also have a podcast that almost carries the same name, the Dream Career Podcast.
Yes.
And I love the purple logo, by the way,
Thank
it's
you.
really nice. And I mean, whenever someone tells me, oh, you should listen to this podcast, my first question would be, what is unique about this podcast? And what should I expect when I go to listen to it?
Mhm. So this podcast, I think one thing I'll say is special about this podcast, it's just one season, right? And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to bring more seasons, but the reason why I wanted to start a podcast because I felt that we don't have enough models of those careers that don't fall into the status quo. And I knew from, you know, living in community and just a lot of the people that I've met in my life that there are these careers that are like, I'm going to steal a way of saying it that a client in the beginning of my career had said, but the less beaten path. I said, I think that's how the client had said that. So I wanted to give examples of this is women who are waking up to a career they love, and that doesn't fall into your typical status quo career, the type of career that you might find if you look online or that most people are sharing. Like I have an astrologist on there. I have a yoga teacher facilitator. So really like these careers that some people might really desire to pursue, but they're like, how am I going to make a living out of this? So I wanted these women to share their stories, and I call them amazing, fearless women. And I really see fearless as not that there wasn't fear, but that there was fear. And regardless of the fear, they still pursue what their heart truly desired. So this is really a place where I often send people, mostly my clients, to be like, hey, why don't you go hear their stories for inspiration? So for me, it was just like a platform for people to hear other people's stories, to be inspired. Yeah.
I love that because particularly with women, there's always that imposter syndrome as well. Is that do I really want to blaze a new trail
Yeah.
and do that? So definitely
Yeah.
that is unique in that way.
And it's very real conversations. Like I didn't edit. I think there's maybe like one episode I had to edit, but I did not edit. This is like straightforward, real talk. And just even asking them about, what were your fears? Or some things that we were afraid of, right? And tips. I've asked all of them to share some tips for people. Like, I work mostly with women, but this message is for everyone. Yeah.
Absolutely important message. Yes, male or female, and
Exactly.
yeah, everybody goes through this
Or
at some point.
non-binary.
Yeah, because I was going to add seniors, and because
everyone.
You get retired out of work, and then that's in a whole new field right 100%. There with new fears as well and challenges.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is my final question to you, Priscilla. What are your hopes and dreams now that we are into 2022 for this year, personally, professionally, or perhaps for the career development field in general?
100%. Yeah, I have a vision of bringing more visibility around the career counseling field in Canada, and really promoting what it is that we do as a profession. And this year, I'll be stepping into the role of president for the Career Counselor chapter of the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I've already decided that I want my mandate to be like bringing more visibility to this career, because I also want more Canadians waking up to a life and career that they love. And I want them to know that you don't have to wait until retirement to do those things that you truly desire, right? Like, now is the time. And I always bring this topic in, and I know that it makes some people uncomfortable and some people find it taboo, but I think it's really important to remind ourselves that our life is finite, right? And I find that by reminding myself that my life is finite, it's a kick in the bum to wake up and do those things I want to do now, not later. I think that's really an important message. And, so that would be like more on the professional side of things. Another thing that I would love for myself in 2022, or at least set the foundation, I would love to be able to teach a career development course, and to kind of bring like that different perspective of like the dream career and more of the holistic approach. And on a personal side, due to COVID, I had really put aside my teaching yoga, and I want to bring that back. Like, I want to start teaching again. I really miss it. So that's a major goal for 2022. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your goals. Again, congratulations on your new position. You are now in a position to spread the word about the work that we do. And I'm very excited by that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So was there anything else you would like to wrap up with, as seeing that I have these were my questions?
Yeah, so when we talk about career development or career transition or career change, what I've really noticed is that a lot of people try to do it by themselves. It's kind of like, oh, I know how to do this. And even though they're really struggling, especially when we think about the job search, they're struggling, it's not working, but it's almost like this. I've noticed like some people find this pride in being able to do it by themselves. And what I want to say is that the majority of people that I know that have stepped into what it is or created what it is they want in their lives, including myself, we had help. There was a sidekick. There was someone beside us cheerleading us on and supporting us in the vision that we had. And I want to encourage Canadians, or whoever the listeners are, to ask for help, right? You don't have to do this alone. And when you ask for help, the ride is so much smoother, right? Give yourself permission to have a smooth ride in this journey that, as we said earlier, can be really challenging. And, if you're in a space where you're ready to embark on this journey, you're ready to find a career that you genuinely love, then you can contact me. You can send me an email at info@mymappedhappiness.com. Usually I love to just start with a complimentary call, just really understand where you're at right now in your career path. And it's really like a collaboration that I see it as. It's like, we decide together if it's a good fit. right? So those clients really decide that, yes, I want my clients to be excited to work with me, because I'm excited to get them from where they are to where I know they can be, and I want them to be excited. So if you're feeling that excitement and that inspiration, like, give me a call, give me a shout.
It's definitely a critical message, really, to say that you need to have someone to support you. You still have to do the work if you have someone supporting you, but there's
100%.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Priscilla.
Thank you for having me on the show, Hoda. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for joining me and Priscilla Jabouin in this episode of Hoda's Career Info 2022. Priscilla shared her journey when she realized that she was not happy at work and how she uncovered her priorities. Please share what you think of Priscilla's journey and reflect on your own journey. You can connect with Priscilla on her website, mymaptohappiness.com. Priscilla is also on LinkedIn and Instagram. Please remember that Hoda's Career Info is offered both as a podcast and a video on YouTube. To let me know if you or anyone you know works in the career development field and is interested in sharing their story, you can send me a direct message on my website, rightcareerfit.com, where you can also sign up for my newsletter to stay up to date on the latest episodes of Hoda's Career Info. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and follow Right Career Fit on social media. I am your host, Hoda, and until next time, stay focused and keep moving in productive ways.